The small spacecraft shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of planet Zorax. Kelly Adams gripped her seat tightly, her green eyes fixed on the swirling clouds below. This was not how she had planned to spend her 30th birthday. As the only human, diplomat chosen for this mission, she felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The fate of Earth might depend on her success. The Zoraxians had contacted Earth 6 months ago. Their message was simple. They were a powerful race of beings who had been watching humans for centuries and now wished to establish formal relations. Their technology was centuries ahead of anything on Earth, which made the leaders of Earth both excited and terrified. Kelly had been selected because of her unique background. She had degrees in both xenobiology and interstellar diplomacy, plus she had grown up in multiple countries due to her parents' diplomatic careers. She understood different cultures in a way few others did. The spacecraft broke through, the cloud cover revealing a landscape that took Kelly's breath away. Massive crystal structures rose from the ground like frozen fountains, their surfaces reflecting light in ways that created rainbow patterns across the land. Between these structures were what appeared to be cities, but unlike any human architecture Kelly had ever seen. Her pilot, Mara Wilson, whistled softly beside her. "Would you look at that? It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time." Kelly nodded, unable to find words. The Zoraxians had sent this craft to bring her to their world, but the interior was designed for human comfort. It was the only familiar thing in an increasingly strange situation. "We are approaching the landing zone," said Mara, her hands steady on the controls. The ship began its descent toward a flat crystal platform that pulsed with inner light. Kelly checked her appearance one last time. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, her diplomatic uniform crisp and formal. The Zoraxians had provided detailed instructions on protocol, but nothing could truly prepare her for being the first human to set foot on their world. The ship landed with barely a tremor. Kelly took a deep breath. "This is it," she said, more to herself than to Mara. She stood and moved toward the airlock. The Zoraxians had assured Earth their atmosphere was breathable for humans, but Kelly still felt nervous as the door began to open. Light flooded the chamber and Kelly stepped forward onto the crystal platform. She blinked, adjusting to the brightness, and then froze. A group of Zoraxians stood waiting for her. They were tall, at least 7 feet, with slender builds. Their skin shimmered with an opalescent quality, shifting colors like oil on water. They had 4 arms and large, almond-shaped eyes that were completely silver without pupils. But most striking was that all the waiting Zoraxians appeared female, at least by human standards. One stepped forward, her head adorned with what appeared to be a crown of living crystal. "Welcome, Kelly Adams of Earth. I am Queen Zalara, ruler of all Zorax. We have awaited your arrival with great interest." Kelly bowed exactly as instructed. "I bring greetings from Earth, Your Majesty. We are honored by your invitation and look forward to establishing peaceful relations between our worlds." The Queen made a gesture with her upper right hand. "Please follow me." The diplomatic reception awaits. Kelly fell into step beside the Queen, noting that the other Zoraxians followed at a respectful, short distance. She was surprised to find the crystal surface warm beneath her feet, not cold as expected. "Your world is beautiful," Kelly said, hoping small talk was acceptable. "I have never seen anything like these crystal formations." Queen Zalara looked pleased. "They are not merely formations. They are living crystal, sentient in their own way. They grow and communicate, though not in ways you would understand. They are the oldest life form on our planet." Kelly tried not to show her surprise. Living crystal was beyond anything Earth scientists had theorized. The diplomatic briefings had not prepared her for this. They arrived at a vast structure that seemed to be growing from the ground itself. The entrance was an archway that rippled like water. As they approached, inside was a large chamber where dozens more Zoraxians waited, all appearing female. Kelly looked around curiously. "Where are the male Zoraxians?" she asked, then immediately worried she had committed a cultural error. The Queen made a sound like wind chimes, which Kelly realized was laughter. "We do not have males as you understand them. We are a single-gender species. We reproduce differently than humans." Before Kelly could ask more questions, The queen guided her to a raised platform, where a small human-sized throne had been placed next to the queen's, much larger. When Kelly took her seat, feeling all eyes upon her, Queen Zalara raised her forearms for silence. "Let the diplomatic reception begin," she announced. "Today marks a historic moment. The beginning of relations between Zorax and Earth. A procession began with Zoraxians approaching to present gifts. Kelly accepted each one with practiced grace, though some were completely mysterious in purpose. After an hour of this ceremony, a tall Zoraxian approached whose skin shifted primarily between blues and purples. Unlike the others, she wore what appeared to be armor that clung to her form like a second skin. The queen gestured toward the newcomer. "This is Zarala, my head warrior, and protector of the royal line. She has a special interest in meeting you." Zarala bowed her head slightly. "I have studied your species with great interest." Kelly Adams. "Your ways of combat and diplomacy fascinate me. Humans achieve so much despite your physical limitations." Kelly wasn't sure if this was a compliment or an insult, but she smiled politely. "Thank you. We believe our greatest strength lies in our adaptability and determination." Zarala stepped closer. Her silver eyes seemed to look through Kelly, rather than at her. "Adaptability is valuable, but it doesn't replace raw power. I question whether your species has what is needed to survive in the greater galaxy. There are threats you cannot imagine." Queen Zalara made a sharp gesture. "Enough, Zarala. This is not the time for such discussions." The warrior bowed again, but her eyes never left Kelly. "We will have time to discuss this further, I believe." She moved away, rejoining the other Zoraxians. The reception continued with music that seemed to come from the crystal walls themselves. The tones were strange to Kelly's ears, but not unpleasant. Food and drink were served. The food consisted of glowing fruits that tasted like nothing on Earth, while the drink was a clear liquid that tingled pleasantly as she sipped it. Throughout the reception, Kelly noticed Zarala watching her. The warrior's gaze was intense, making Kelly uncomfortable, but she maintained her diplomatic composure. As the reception wound down, Queen Zalara leaned toward Kelly. "You have done well today. The first meeting between our peoples has been successful. Thank you, Your Majesty." Kelly replied, "I hope this is the beginning of a beneficial relationship for both our worlds." The queen nodded, but her expression grew serious. "There is much you do not know about why we have reached out to Earth after centuries of watching. We face threats that concern us both. It is why we selected you specifically." Kelly felt a chill despite the room's comfortable temperature. "What threats?" Before the queen could answer, Zarala appeared beside them. "A distress signal has been received from the Western Outpost. Your Majesty, we are under attack." The reception hall erupted in movement as Zoraxians rushed to positions of apparent responsibility. The queen stood tall and calm amid the chaos. "Kelly Adams, you will come with me. Now we will show you why we contacted Earth and why your mission is more important than your leaders realized." Kelly followed, feeling both fear and curiosity. "Who is attacking Queen Zalara's?" Expression darkened. "The Drakari. They believe all other species are beneath them, fit only for conquest or elimination. They have been our enemies for millennia, and now they have turned their attention to your solar system as well." Kelly felt her heart race. Earth had no defense against an advanced alien species bent on destruction. "Is that why you contacted us, to warn us?" The queen placed one of her 4 hands on Kelly's shoulder. "Not just to warn you, to propose an alliance. Your species has something the Zoraxians lack, something that might be crucial in the coming war. What could humans possibly offer to beings so advanced?" Kelly wondered. The queen seemed to read her thoughts. "Passion, Kelly Adams. Humans have an inner fire that our species has lost over the millennia. You feel deeply. You fight fiercely. You love completely. These qualities may seem primitive to some of my people like Zarala, but I believe they are exactly what we need." Kelly thought of. "Earth so vulnerable and unaware of the danger, my leaders sent me to establish diplomatic relations. They know nothing about a war. We will explain everything," the queen said. "But first we must respond to this attack. Come. You will see what we face." What your world will soon face as well. As Kelly followed Queen Zalara from the reception hall, she realized her mission had just become far more complex than a simple diplomatic exchange. She was now part of something that would determine the fate of both their worlds, and somewhere in the palace, warrior Zarela watched her with those silver eyes full of doubt and challenge. Kelly hurried alongside Queen Zalara through crystal corridors that seemed to pulse with inner light. The sounds of alarm echoed throughout the structure, creating an eerie melody of danger. Zoraxian warriors rushed past them, their armor shifting, colors to match their movements. They entered what appeared to be a command center. A large crystal sphere dominated the center of the room, projecting a three-dimensional map of the planet. Several red dots pulsed on one side of the display. Queen Zalara approached the sphere, her four hands moving in complex patterns that altered the display. The Western outpost is under heavy attack. She confirmed. Her voice remained calm, but Kelly could sense the tension. Status report: a Zoraxian with pale blue skin stepped forward. 3 Drakari ships breached our outer defenses. They deployed ground troops before we could activate the crystal shield. The outpost reports 20 casualties. So far, Kelly watched in fascination and horror as the display showed images of the attack. The Drakari were unlike anything she had imagined, massive reptilian beings with armored scales and powerful tails. They moved with surprising speed for their size, wielding weapons that fired pulses of dark energy. Zarala entered the command center, her armor now glowing with activations patterns. I have mobilized the Royal Guard and request permission to lead the counterattack, Queen. Zalara nodded. I grant permission. But first, she turned to Kelly. Our guest should understand what we face. Show her. Zarala did not look pleased, but she approached the crystal sphere and made a gesture. The image changed, showing a massive fleet of ships hovering at the edge of the solar system. This is the main Drakari force, she explained. They have been testing our defenses for months. These attacks are merely probes to assess our capabilities. Kelly felt her mouth go dry. How many ships? Over 500, Zarala answered, and each carries enough firepower to level a human city in minutes. Kelly thought of Earth with its primitive defenses. Compared to these vessels, we would have no chance against them. Exactly, Zarela said with something like satisfaction in her voice. Your species would be eliminated within days. Perhaps hours. Queen Zalara made a sharp gesture. Enough, Zarela. Take your warriors and secure the western outpost. I want prisoners for questioning. The warrior bowed and turned to leave, but paused beside Kelly. When I return, human, we will discuss your species worth. She strode from the room, her armor glowing brighter as if responding to her emotions. The Queen watched her go, then turned to Kelly. Zarela is my finest warrior, but she lacks diplomatic skills. Please forgive her. Directness. Kelly nodded, still processing everything. She had seen those ships. Will they come to Earth eventually? Yes. Queen Zalara gestured to the display again. The Drakari expand methodically, conquering one system at a time. They have already taken 12 worlds in this sector alone. Each conquest makes them stronger as they assimilate the technology and resources of the fallen. But why contact Earth now? Kelly asked. If we're so technologically inferior, why not wait until after you defeat the Drakari? The Queen made the chime-like sound that Kelly now recognized as laughter. Who said we can defeat them alone? The Zoraxians have been fighting the Drakari for generations. We are at a stalemate. But recently, our seers have had visions. Visions that show humans and Zoraxians fighting side by side. That is why we reached out. That is why you are here. Kelly frowned. Seers' visions. This sounded like mysticism, not the advanced science she had expected. The Queen seemed to sense her doubt. Our seers use the living crystal to see probability, streams, what you might call possible futures. The crystal has never been wrong. A tremor ran through the building, causing Kelly to stumble. The Queen steadied her with one hand, while maintaining perfect balance. The attack is intensifying, one of the Zoraxians reported. They have breached the outpost's inner defenses. Show me, the Queen commanded. The display changed, showing chaos as Drakari warriors pushed through the defenders. Kelly could see Zarala in the midst of battle. Her 4 arms wielded, different weapons with deadly precision. She moved faster than seemed possible, cutting down 3 Drakari in rapid succession. Despite her earlier attitude toward Kelly, Zarala was impressive in combat. She coordinated the other warriors while fighting, herself never losing focus even when injured by a glancing blast. The Queen watched with concern. Zarala is outnumbered, she noted. They need reinforcements. Another Zoraxian approached. Your Majesty, the 2nd Defense Force is 20 minutes from arrival, Queen. Zalara shook her head. That may be too late. Kelly watched the battle, feeling helpless. The Zoraxians fought bravely, but the Drakari kept coming, waves of reptilian warriors pouring from their ships. She noticed something about their attack pattern. They focused their attacks on specific points, ignoring easier targets. They seemed to be searching for something, Kelly said, pointing to the display. See how they're converging on that central building, but ignoring the weapons depots. Queen Zalara looked sharply at Kelly. You have good eyes for strategy. Yes, they are searching. The western outpost houses one of our crystal seed vaults. Crystal seed. The Queen gestured around them. All this living crystal grows from seeds ancient and powerful. They are the heart of our technology, our buildings, our weapons. The Drakari have tried to steal them for generations. On the display, Zarala was now cut off from her main force, surrounded by Drakari warriors. She fought magnificently, but even Kelly could see she wouldn't last long. We have to help her, Kelly said, forgetting her diplomatic role in the moment. The Queen looked at her with those silver eyes. Is this the human passion I spoke of? Concern for someone who has shown you only contempt. Kelly met her gaze. It's not about personal feelings. It's about doing what's right. Your warrior risks her life to protect your people. I respect that, regardless of her opinion of me. Queen Zalara studied Kelly, then made a decision. Prepare my personal transport. She ordered I will lead the 3rd Defense Force myself. The command center erupted in protest, but the Queen silenced them with a gesture. I will not abandon my warriors. She turned to Kelly. You will come with me. Kelly was stunned. I'm not a fighter. The Queen moved toward the exit, Kelly following uncertainly. I do not need another fighter, I need a diplomat. They hurried through the corridors to a launching bay, where a sleek crystal vessel waited along with 50 heavily armed Zoraxian warriors. The Queen boarded with Kelly close behind. Within minutes they were airborne, moving at incredible speed toward the western outpost. From the viewports, Kelly could see the landscape rushing below. The crystal formations grew sparser as they moved, west giving way to what appeared to be dense jungle with purple vegetation interspersed with more crystal growths. We approached the battleground, the pilot announced. Kelly felt fear knotting her stomach, but also a strange excitement. She had come to Zorax as a diplomat, not a warrior, yet here she was rushing into battle beside an alien queen. The transport landed with a slight jolt. The rear doors opened, and the warriors rushed out. Queen Zalara paused, turning to Kelly. Stay close to me. Do not attempt to fight unless absolutely necessary. Your survival is important. They emerged into chaos. The outpost was partially destroyed, crystal structures shattered and smoking. Zoraxian and Drakari bodies lay scattered across the battlefield. The fighting continued fiercely around the central building that Kelly had noticed earlier. Where is Zarala? The Queen demanded. One of her warriors pointed toward the central building. She entered, pursuing the Drakari commander. They breached the vault. The Queen moved forward with Kelly beside her. The Zoraxian warriors formed a protective circle around them, clearing a path through the fighting. When they reached the central building, the entrance was blocked by debris. Clear. This the Queen ordered her warriors, quickly moved the broken crystal aside, revealing a corridor beyond. They advanced carefully. The sounds of combat echoed from deep within the structure. Following the sounds, they came to a large chamber. The crystal seed vault stood open and empty. In the center of the room, Zarala fought the Drakari commander, a massive reptilian being nearly twice her size. Despite her skill, Zarala was clearly outmatched. The Drakari commander held what appeared to be a container filled with glowing crystal, seeds in one clawed hand while battling Zarala with the other. As they watched, he landed a powerful blow, sending Zarala crashing into a wall where she lay, motionless. "No!" Queen Zalara cried out. The Drakari commander turned his attention to them, his reptilian face showing what might have been a smile. "Too late, Zoraxian," he growled in a voice like grinding stones. "These seeds are ours now, as your planet soon will be." Kelly watched in horror as more Drakari warriors poured into the chamber from another entrance surrounding the queen and her group. They were trapped. The Drakari commander stepped forward, eyeing Queen Zalara. "Your resistance ends today," he said. Then his gaze fell on Kelly, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "A human?" he hissed. "Interesting, very interesting." Before anyone could move, a blur of motion caught Kelly's attention. Zarala had regained consciousness and with a surge of desperate energy hurled herself at the Drakari commander. Her weapons struck simultaneously at vulnerable points. In his armor, he roared in pain, dropping the container of seeds. "Catch it!" Zarala shouted as the container tumbled through the air. Without thinking, Kelly lunged forward, her diplomatic training forgotten. She dove across the floor, hands outstretched. The container landed in her palms, the impact sending pain shooting up her arms, but she held on, rolling to protect the precious cargo. The return journey to the Zoraxian palace was tense but triumphant. Kelly's actions at the western outpost had changed something. She felt it in the way the Zoraxian warriors now looked at her with something approaching respect. Even Zarala, who had been openly dismissive before, now seemed thoughtful when their eyes met. The queen's transport landed at the palace as 3 suns were setting, casting multiple shadows across the crystal landscape. Kelly helped support Zarala, whose injuries, though not life-threatening, clearly caused her pain. The warrior had refused medical treatment until they reached the palace, insisting her duty was to guard the queen and the recovered seeds first. Once inside the palace, medical team rushed to attend to. The injured Queen Zalara summoned her advisors for an emergency meeting. Kelly was surprised when the queen gestured for her to follow. The council chamber was a circular room with walls of living crystal that shifted colors subtly as if responding to the mood of those present. 7 Zoraxian elders already waited seated at a crescent table, facing the queen's elevated throne. To Kelly's surprise, a human-sized chair had been placed at the queen's right hand. "Take your place, Kelly," Adams, the queen, said formally. "Today you have earned the right to sit in council with us." Kelly felt the weight of the moment as she sat beside the queen. The elders watched her with unreadable silver eyes. Queen Zalara placed the container of crystal seeds on a pedestal. In the center of the room, "The Drakari nearly succeeded today," she began. Her voice was steady, but Kelly could hear the underlying tension. "The seeds are safe thanks to the actions of our human guest. But this attack confirms our worst fears. The Drakari are growing bolder. They seek our seeds not merely to destroy our outposts, but to possess our technology." One of the elders leaned forward. "Is it wise to discuss such matters before an outsider?" Her voice carried no hostility, just genuine concern. The queen gestured to Kelly. "Kelly Adams has proven herself today. She risked her life to save our seeds. She has earned our trust. And more importantly, the visions show humans and Zoraxians united against the Drakari threat. She must understand what we face, what her world will soon face." The elder nodded, accepting the queen's wisdom. The council turned its attention to battle reports and defense strategies. Kelly listened carefully, trying to understand the complex situation she now found herself in. The Zoraxians had technologies far beyond human comprehension, yet they seemed genuinely concerned about the Drakari threat. As the meeting progressed, Kelly learned that the Drakari had conquered 12 systems in the past 2 Earth decades. Each conquest followed the same pattern: test attacks increasing in intensity, followed by a massive invasion. The pattern happening on Zorax was familiar to the council and deeply troubling. After 2 hours of discussion, Queen Zalara addressed Kelly directly. "Kelly Adams, you have seen firsthand what the Drakari are capable of. The attack today was merely a small probe. The full invasion force waits beyond our system. Do you understand now why we contacted Earth, Kelly? Nodded. I understand the threat. But I still don't understand how Earth can help you. Your technology is centuries beyond ours. We have no crystal seeds, no living ships, no energy weapons. How could we possibly stand against the Drakari? The Queen exchanged glances with her council before responding. Technology is not everything, Kelly Adams. The Drakari have conquered many technologically advanced civilizations. What they truly fear is unpredictability, creativity, passion. They are beings of cold calculation and precise planning. Your species thrives on chaos, adapts to impossible situations, finds solutions where none should exist. This is what the crystal foresees. This is why we need humans. Before Kelly could respond, the council chamber doors opened. Zarala entered, her wounds, now treated, but her movement still careful. She bowed to the Queen, then fixed her silver eyes on Kelly. The human fought well today, Zarala announced to the council. Her actions were decisive, brave beyond expectation. For a species so physically fragile, the human Kelly Adams showed warrior spirit, coming from Zarala. This was high praise. Kelly felt a flush of pride. Though she wasn't sure her diving catch of a falling container qualified as warrior spirit. The Queen seemed pleased by Zarala's assessment. The warrior has spoken, adding weight to what the crystal has shown us. She turned back to Kelly. There is more you must understand. We did not choose you randomly. Kelly Adams. The crystal showed us you specifically. Kelly felt a chill run down her spine. Me, but why? I'm just a diplomat. I have no special skills or abilities. The Queen rose from her throne and approached the crystal wall. It shimmered in response to her presence. Observe, she said, placing all four hands against the surface. The crystal wall transformed, becoming a window into what seemed like another reality. Kelly gasped as she saw images of herself in situations that had never happened. Fighting alongside Zoraxian warriors, addressing what appeared to be a combined council of humans and Zoraxians, standing before the United Nations explaining something with passionate gestures. Leading a small team into what looked like a Drakari ship. These are probability streams, the Queen explained. What may come to pass? The crystal sees potential in you, Kelly Adams. You have a role to play in the coming war, a crucial role. Kelly stared at the images, feeling overwhelmed. The responsibility was too much. She was supposed to establish diplomatic relations, not become some kind of prophesied savior. I don't understand why me. Zarala stepped forward. Surprisingly, it was she who answered. In battle earlier, I saw something. When you moved to catch the seeds, there was no hesitation, no calculation. You simply acted to protect something. You barely understand, sacrificing your safety for our benefit. She paused, looking uncomfortable with such open praise. This is rare. This is valuable. One of the council elders spoke. The Drakari cannot comprehend such actions. They see only logical paths, predictable responses. When faced with beings who act from heart rather than mind, they falter. This is why humans may be our greatest allies. Queen Zalara dismissed the council but asked Kelly and Zarala to remain. Once they were alone, she spoke. More openly, Kelly Adams, tomorrow you must return to Earth with our proposal for alliance. But tonight you must learn more about us, about the seeds, about what is truly at stake. The Queen led them deeper into the palace to a chamber Kelly had not seen before. A garden of crystal growths filled the space, glowing softly with inner light in various colors. The air felt charged with energy. This is the Heart Garden, Queen. Zalara explained, the source of all Zoraxian crystal seeds. Each growth you see is connected to our collective consciousness. Our history, our knowledge, our very essence is stored here. Kelly walked carefully among the crystal formations, feeling a strange resonance as if the crystals were somehow aware of her presence. It was beautiful and unsettling. Zarala stayed close behind her, watching with cautious eyes. The Queen approached a central formation larger than the others. This is the first seed. From it all others grew billions of years ago. It is sentient in ways Even we do not fully comprehend. She placed one hand on the crystal and it pulsed, brightening. It shows us the probability streams, helps us navigate possible futures. And it showed you me. Kelly said, still struggling to accept this. The Queen nodded. It showed us. Earth showed us. Humans showed us. You specifically. The first seed rarely focuses on individuals. When it does, we listen. Zarala moved to stand beside Kelly. You feel it, don't you? The resonance. Zoraxians are born feeling it, but for an alien, to sense it. She looked at Kelly with new interest. Kelly did feel something, a subtle vibration, a connection she couldn't explain. Yes, she admitted, I feel something. Like it's trying to communicate. The Queen exchanged a significant look with Zarala. This confirms what we suspected, Kelly Adams. You have an affinity for the crystal few. Non-Zoraxians have ever demonstrated this. It is why the first seed showed us your image. It is why you are crucial to the Alliance. Kelly reached out hesitantly toward the crystal formation. The Queen nodded encouragingly. She touched the surface. It was warm, almost soft despite its crystalline appearance. The moment her fingers made contact, images flooded her mind. Planets she didn't recognize, species she had never seen, wars and peace treaties spanning millennia. And through it all, a growing shadow, the Drakari expanding, consuming civilization after civilization. She pulled her hand away, gasping. The crystal remembers everything. Yes, the Queen said. The living crystal is our greatest treasure and our greatest responsibility. It contains the collective memory of countless civilizations, some long extinct. It is what the Drakari truly want. Not just conquest, but the knowledge contained in our seeds. With it, they could predict every move, every strategy of every species in the galaxy. Nothing could stop them. Kelly understood now why the seeds were so valuable, why the Zoraxians protected them so fiercely, why they sought allies even among less advanced species like human. Zarala spoke, her voice unusually gentle for the warrior. The Drakari destroyed my home colony when I was young. I watched them take everything I survived by hiding in a crystal formation. That day I swore to protect the seeds with my life. She looked at Kelly with newfound respect. Today you helped me keep that oath. Kelly felt the weight of everything she'd learned pressing down on her. How am I supposed to explain all this to my leaders? They sent me to establish basics, diplomatic relations, not to bring Earth into an interstellar war. Kelly woke to the sound of alarms blaring throughout the palace. She jumped from her bed, still wearing the crystal pendant Queen Zalara had given her. The door to her quarters slid open, revealing Zarala in full battle armor. Her silver eyes intense. We must move quickly, human, the warrior said. Kelly Adams. The Drakari have launched a major attack. They seek to prevent your return to Earth. Kelly grabbed her diplomatic uniform, pulling it on hastily as she followed Zarala through the corridors. What happened to the palace defenses? The Drakari found a way to disrupt our crystal shields, Zarala explained, moving with swift purpose. They have landed forces at the spaceport. Your transport has been moved to a secondary location. We must reach it. They rounded a corner and encountered a group of Zoraxian warriors who fell in behind them, forming a protective formation. Kelly felt fear, but pushed it aside, focusing on what needed to be done. Where is Queen Zalara? She asked as they hurried down a spiraling ramp coordinating the defense from the command center. Zarala replied, The Queen ordered me personally to ensure your safe departure. Your mission is now critical. They entered a large hall and froze. Across the open space stood 3 Drakari, warriors. Their reptilian forms even more intimidating up close. Scaled armor covered their massive bodies. Their yellow eyes locked onto Kelly immediately. The human, the middle one, growled. She must not escape. Zarala pushed Kelly behind her. Take the emergency passage, she hissed, pointing to a small doorway to their right. The warriors will escort you. I will hold them here. Before Kelly could protest, the Zoraxian warriors pulled her toward the passage. But Kelly resisted, glancing back at Zarala. The warrior had drawn her weapons, all 4 arms ready for battle. There were only 3 Drakari, but their size and power made them formidable opponents. "I can't just leave you," Kelly said. Zarala never took her eyes off the approaching Drakari. "This is my duty, Kelly Adams. Your duty lies elsewhere. Now go." The Drakari charged forward with surprising speed for their bulk. Zarala met them, her weapons flashing in the crystal light. The corridor erupted in combat. Kelly watched in horror as Zarala engaged all 3 simultaneously. Her skill was impressive, but the odds were overwhelming. Something shifted inside Kelly. In that moment, she made a decision that went against all diplomatic protocol, all common sense. She broke free from the Zoraxian escorts and ran toward a fallen warrior's weapon lying on the floor. She had never used alien weapons before, but the design seemed intuitive, a trigger mechanism and directional emitter. She grabbed it, feeling its weight. One of the Drakari had Zarala pinned against a wall. The warrior's 2 left arms were injured, leaving her fighting with only her right. Kelly raised the weapon, took aim, and fired. A burst of energy shot forth, striking the Drakari in the back. It roared in pain, releasing Zarala. Zarala used the moment to strike, driving her remaining weapon into a vulnerable spot. The Drakari fell. As it did, Kelly fired again at another attacker, creating an opening for Zarala to exploit. The warrior moved with renewed purpose, taking advantage of Kelly's support. Together they managed to force the Drakari backfall back to the passage. Zarala called to Kelly. "They need to regroup." Kelly retreated, keeping the weapon trained on the Drakari. Zarala followed, backing toward the passage entrance. Once, through a crystal barrier formed sealing the entrance. "You fight well for a diplomat," Zarala said, her breathing heavy from exertion. Kelly still gripped the weapon, her hands shaking with adrenaline. "I couldn't just leave you." Zarala tilted her head, studying Kelly with new eyes. "You could have reached your ship safely, yet you risked yourself. Again, you demonstrate this human passion." The Zoraxian escorts surrounded them once more, leading them through narrow passages. Kelly realized they were moving deeper, into the crystal structures rather than toward the surface. "Where are we going?" she asked. "The spaceport is compromised," one of the warriors explained. "We must use the underground launch facility." They hurried through a series of tunnels that sloped downward. The crystal walls here were rougher, less refined than in the palace. Kelly felt the pendant growing warmer against her skin, as if responding to the raw crystal around them. Finally, they entered a vast underground cavern. Kelly gasped at the sight. A spacecraft unlike any she'd seen before waited there. It was smaller than the one she'd arrived in, but its crystal construction seemed more intricate, more alive. "This is the Queen's personal courier vessel," Zarala explained. "It is faster, more maneuverable than standard transports. It will get you safely through the Drakari blockade." Kelly approached the ship with wonder. "How does it work?" Zarala placed a hand on the crystal hull. "It is grown, not built. It responds to Zoraxian commands." She hesitated. "It should respond to you as well." "Me, but I'm not." Zarala pointed to the pendant around Kelly's neck. "The seed crystal creates a connection. You bear the Queen's gift, it will recognize you." Tremor shook the cavern, causing small crystal fragments to fall from the ceiling. "We must hurry," one of the warriors urged. Kelly turned to Zarala. The warrior had fought to protect her, had nearly died doing so, yet there was something more between them now, a respect born in battle. "Come with me," she said impulsively. "You know more about the Alliance, more about the Drakari. You could help convince Earth." Zarala looked surprised. "My duty is to protect my queen, my world." Another tremor, stronger this time. "The Drakari are getting closer." A warrior warned. A communication panel on the wall activated, showing Queen Zalara's face. "Zarala," she said, her voice clear despite the interference. "The palace defenses are holding, but the Drakari main force approaches. You must go with Kelly Adams to Earth." "But my Queen." Zarala protested. "This is my command," Queen Zalara said firmly. "The crystal has shown this path. The human will need you." And she placed a hand on her own neck where the pendant had been. "You carry a part of me with you both." The screen went dark as another explosion shook the cavern. "There is no time." Zarala said, her decision made. She guided Kelly to the ship. The entrance spiraled open as they approached, responding to the pendant. The interior was small but comfortable, clearly designed for diplomatic missions rather than war. The Zoraxian warriors bowed to Zarala. Kelly realized they were saying goodbye. She felt a pang of guilt. These warriors would return to battle while she escaped. Zarala settled into what appeared to be the pilot position. Kelly sat beside her. The controls were unlike anything she'd seen, crystal formations that responded to touch, thought, and the pendant around her neck. The ship came alive, lights pulsing along its interior. Hold tight, Zarala instructed. This launch may be rough. The ship rose without visible propulsion. The ceiling of the cavern split open, revealing a shaft leading to the surface. They accelerated upward, emerging into chaos. The sky above the palace was filled with Drakari ships. Zoraxian vessels engaged them, energy, weapons flashing like lightning across the atmosphere. "We must break through the blockade," Zarala said, her four hands moving across the crystal controls with practiced skill. The ship responded instantly, diving and weaving through the battle with incredible maneuverability. Kelly watched in horror and fascination as Zarala piloted them through the conflict. The Drakari seemed to notice them almost immediately. Several attack ships broke formation to pursue. "They know this is the Queen's vessel," Zarala explained. "They suspect your importance." A blast rocked their ship. Kelly gripped her seat as Zarala executed a series of evasive maneuvers. The crystal hull absorbed some of the energy, but warnings flashed across the control panel. "Can we outrun them?" Kelly asked. Zarala nodded grimly. "Once we clear the atmosphere, this vessel is faster than anything the Drakari have." But first, she didn't finish the sentence as another blast hit them directly. The lights dimmed momentarily. Kelly felt helpless, watching Zarala fight to keep them alive. She wished she could do something, anything to help. As if responding to her thought, the crystal pendant grew warmer. The control panel in front of her activated. "You can help," Zarala said, sensing her frustration. "The defense systems will respond to you. Place your hands there." Kelly placed her hands on the indicated crystal formation. Immediately she felt a connection, similar to what she'd experienced in the Heart Garden, but more focused. The ship systems opened to her mind, showing her targeting displays, energy levels, shield status. It was overwhelming but somehow intuitive. "Focus on defense," Zarala instructed. "I will handle flight." Kelly concentrated, directing the ship's defensive capabilities. Energy shields strengthened where needed. Power diverted to damaged sections. She found she could predict Drakari attacks seconds before they happened, allowing Zarala to evade more effectively. They worked together in wordless coordination, as if they'd trained for years. The ship responded to their combined efforts, dancing through the battlefield. The Drakari pursuers fell behind one by one, unable to match their maneuverability. "We're approaching the atmosphere," Zarala announced. "Prepare for transition." The ship shuddered as they hit the upper atmosphere. Heat built around the crystal hull. The pendant burned against Kelly's skin, not painfully, but with fierce energy. She maintained her focus on the defense systems. A final Drakari ship pursued them relentlessly, firing continuous blasts. "It's too persistent," Zarala muttered. It must be their commander. Kelly felt rather than saw an opportunity. A pattern in the Drakari ship's movements, a predictability. She fed this insight to Zarala through their shared connection with the ship. The 7 days of journey to Earth passed quickly. Kelly spent every waking hour learning from Zarala. The warrior proved to be a patient teacher, explaining Zoraxian combat techniques, defensive strategies, and the history of their conflict with the Drakari. In return, Kelly taught Zarala about Earth, its nation's cultures and political structures. Their ship maintained suspended travel, moving through space in ways Kelly could barely comprehend. The crystal technology responded increasingly to her touch, as if the pendant was strengthening her connection to it. Zarala noticed this with interest. "Your affinity grows stronger," she commented on the 6th day as Kelly successfully operated the ship's navigational systems without instruction. "Few non-Zoraxians have ever demonstrated such ability." Kelly looked at the pendant that never left her neck. Do you think this is why the Queen gave it to me? Not just as proof for Earth, but because she knew I could use it. Zarala considered this, her, Silver Eyes thoughtful. Queen Zalara sees many possibilities. The crystal shows her paths that others cannot perceive. She likely saw this potential in you before you knew it yourself. As Earth came into view on the final day, Kelly felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief at returning home, anxiety about the mission ahead, and something else unexpected, a certain reluctance to leave the ship to end this time of learning with Zarala. The warrior had become more than an alien diplomat. She had become a friend, perhaps the first true friend Kelly had made in years. We will enter Earth's atmosphere in 1 hour, Zarala announced. The ship can conceal itself from your detection systems. But where should we land? Kelly thought about this. The United Nations compound in New York would be the logical choice for a diplomatic arrival. But this mission had moved beyond normal diplomacy. Take us to the secondary diplomatic facility in Colorado. She decided, it's more secure, more isolated. We can control. Who knows about your arrival? Zarala nodded and adjusted their course. The ship responded, instantly changing direction. A warning appeared on the control panel. A Drakari scout vessel was following their trajectory from a distance. They found us, Kelly, said alarmed. Zarala studied the readings. Not precisely. They detected our exit from suspended travel, but not our exact location. They are searching. She manipulated the controls, changing their energy signature. The ship shimmered its crystal structure, adapting, becoming even harder to detect. Will that stop them? Kelly asked. For a time, Zarala replied, we must reach your facility quickly. The Drakari scout is alone for now, but it will call reinforcements if it detects us. They entered Earth's atmosphere. Under cover of darkness, the ship glided silently through the night sky. Zarala guided it masterfully, following Kelly's directions, until finally they hovered over the Colorado diplomatic compound. This is it, Kelly said, pointing to a landing area away. From the main building, Zarala brought the ship down gently. The crystal hull pulsed once, then went dormant, blending with the night well. Need to contact the facility director, Kelly said as they prepared to exit. But we should do it carefully. The sight of you might cause panic. Zarala gestured to the control panel. Use the communication system. The pendant will allow you to operate it. Kelly placed her hand on the crystal surface, focusing her thoughts. A communication channel opened to the facility. The face of Director Wilson appeared on the screen, looking startled. Kelly Adams, he exclaimed. We thought you were on Zorax. The alien delegation reported you were still in discussions. I'm back. Director Kelly said, keeping her voice calm, and I've brought someone important with me. We need a secure meeting immediately. Code Diplomatic Emergency Alpha. The director's expression changed immediately. I'll activate protocols. Where are you? Outside the East Landing area, Kelly replied. Please come alone. This is sensitive. The screen went dark. Kelly turned to Zarala. The warrior had watched the exchange with interest. He will come? Zarala asked. Kelly nodded. Director Wilson is one of our best diplomats. He understands discretion. She hesitated. We should leave. The weapons here. Zarala looked surprised but removed her visible weapons, placing them on a storage shelf. Her forearms now empty, she still looked imposing but less threatening. They exited the ship. Kelly felt the cool night air of Earth after a week in the controlled environment of the ship. It felt strange, familiar, yet somehow different, as if she had changed in fundamental ways. Director Wilson approached alone as requested. His eyes widened at the sight of Zarala. But to his credit, he maintained his composure. Kelly Adams, he said formally. Welcome back to Earth. And he turned to Zarala, extending his hand in greeting. Welcome to Earth, Zarala. Looked at Kelly's encouraging nod, then carefully took the director's hand with one of her four arms. I am Zarala, head warrior of Queen Zalara. I come as representative of Zorax. They moved quickly to a secure conference room. Director Wilson activated privacy protocols, then turned to Kelly. His expression grave. What has happened? The Zoraxian Delegation left suddenly without explanation, claiming only that extended discussions were underway. Kelly touched the crystal pendant, gathering her thoughts. Director, what I'm about to tell you changes everything we thought we knew about the Zoraxian diplomatic mission. She took a deep breath. The Zoraxians didn't reach out for simple diplomatic relations. They need our help. They need an alliance against an enemy called the Drakari, an enemy that threatens Earth as well over the next hour. Kelly and Zarala explained everything. The Drakari threat, the crystal technology, the attack on the Western outpost, the predictions about Earth's involvement. Director Wilson listened, asking occasional clarifying questions, his expression growing more serious with each revelation. Finally, Kelly removed the pendant and placed it on the table. This is proof, a seed crystal from Queen Zalara herself. It contains information data records of everything we've told you. Director Wilson stared at the crystal. It looks like a simple pendant. It's much more, Kelly said. The crystal technology is sentient responsive. It interfaces directly with consciousness. She hesitated, then added, It responds to me. To demonstrate, she placed her hand on the pendant, focusing her thoughts. The crystal glowed, projecting images into the air. Above the table appeared scenes from Zorax the Palace, the Drakari attack. The Crystal Garden Director Wilson watched in astonishment. I've never seen technology like this, Zarala spoke. This is merely a fraction of what the crystal can do. It contains the collective memory of our people, our history, our science. And it has shown us that humans and Zoraxians must stand together against the Drakari threat. The director looked from the crystal to Kelly to Zarala. I need to contact the Secretary General immediately. The Security Council must be informed. Kelly nodded. But sir, there may not be much time. A Drakari scout followed us to Earth. It will likely call reinforcements. Director Wilson paled. How long do we have, Zarala? Considered days, perhaps. A standard Drakari battle group would take time to assemble, but once they confirm our presence here, the director stood. We must act quickly. Kelly, I need you to prepare a full briefing document. Zarala, we will need technical specifications, anything that can help us understand what we're facing is. Director Wilson left to make secure calls. Kelly turned to Zarala. The warrior stood by the window looking out at the unfamiliar landscape of Earth. Her posture suggested tension, concern. You worry about your people, Kelly said, joining her at the window. Zarala nodded. The Drakari will intensify their attacks on Zorax now. They know the alliance has begun. They will try to prevent it from strengthening. Kelly placed a hand on Zarala's arm. A gesture she'd learned was acceptable among Zoraxian warriors. We won't let them succeed. The next 3 days passed in a blur of activity. Kelly and Zarala briefed increasingly high-level officials. First the United Nations Security Council, then a special assembly of world leaders. The crystal pendant provided irrefutable proof of everything they described. Zarala impressed the military leaders with her knowledge of Drakari tactics and weaknesses. Kelly found herself acting as bridge between the two species, translating cultural concepts, explaining subtleties that Zarala might miss. Somewhere in the process, Kelly realized she had become more than a diplomat. She had become an ambassador for both worlds, on the fourth day, Kelly stood before the full United Nations General Assembly, Zarala beside her. The world's media had been told only that a historic announcement was coming. No images of Zarala had been released. A decision had been made to control the narrative to prevent panic. Kelly felt the weight of the moment as she addressed the assembly. Distinguished representatives, she began. I stand before you today with news that will forever change humanity's understanding of our place in the universe. She gestured to Zarala. I present Zarala, head warrior of Queen Zalara of Zorax. The first of her kind to visit Earth. Murmurs swept through the assembly as the representatives took in Zarala's four-armed form, her height, her alienness. But the reaction was controlled. They had been prepared, Kelly continued. For the past week I have worked with Zarala and with leaders from every nation represented here to prepare for what I must now tell you all. Humanity is not alone in facing a grave threat. The Dracarian aggressive expansionist species have set their sights on our solar system. The assembly hall was silent as Kelly explained the situation. She outlined the proposed alliance, the sharing of technology, the combined defensive strategy. The crystal pendant projected supporting images enhancing her words with visual evidence that none could.